Well, welcome to the video. We're doing a bit of a Vendetta build guide today. If you've been like having trouble playing Vendetta, this will probably help you. If you've been having trouble playing Vendetta, hopefully this build will help you kind of break into the character and understand it a little bit more. I kind of made this guide just to help people abuse the character. It's super broken right now, so you may as well have your fun with it. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, give me a comment, subscribe if you want to stick around. I'll be trying to make a bunch more of these videos. I got plenty of builds for plenty of characters that I love to play, so I figure this will just be something I'll do for a little while. But yeah, enjoy. Okay, so I've got the build pulled up here. I'm just going to go through it really quickly and just kind of show you what I do. This is the max build, so this will be ideally what you're aiming for in the later game. I'm not going to go over too much what you want to play in like the early game because it's all kind of the same thing. Like if you play any amount of Stadium, I mean, you should kind of know roughly how like the first 2-3 rounds are supposed to go on the perk side. You kind of just pick what you need to. It's so different, if you're facing a Ryan comp versus if you're facing an Orisa comp or a Sig comp, or maybe you got Junkrat May, or there's so many different variables that kind of decide what you're going to go with on round 1, 2, 3. So I don't want to just specify and say go for these specific perks like it's the answer every single time, because realistically you're gonna have to use a little bit of brain power when it comes to that and just kind of figure it out for yourself. If you're facing a Pharah, maybe you would want to go for something like Stratosphere Beacon and what's the other one here, and Aerial Distressor, something to really do damage to Aerial so you can help out with that. It's just it's situational. So we're gonna go more over late game, more over full builds, and kind of how this build flows as you get up into the further rounds, because as games get more competitive, as you climb in ranks, you're probably not going to do as much steamrolling. You're going to have more competitive games, especially if you just kind of wipe in lower lobbies. So this is kind of what we're going to go over. If you are looking for a more simplistic kind of breakdown, I can make a guide on that as well, but this is going to be more more well-rounded and a little more in-depth on what you want to do in the later games of Stadium. So as our first round 1, 2, we're going to go Rising Rampage and we're going to go Riposte. Great combo. Essentially, Rising Rampage can get your onslaught stacked up to 8 with eliminations, and when you're moving as much as you are with this build, getting an onslaught stack that high is really not that difficult if you're just playing optimally. So we're gonna go with Rising Rampage for the first perk, our first power, sorry. For our second power, again, Riposte. This is essentially just gonna let you absorb range damage, and it will allow you to move faster in your warding stance. So if we kind of look, we'll do a quick comparison here. If I just kind of walk forward, it's this real sluggish movement. It's kind of like a creep walk. It's not that much quicker with Riposte, but essentially, for walking, it speeds you up quite a bit. You can get much closer to them, and it will allow you to get that max swing off. You can also hold this for a quite ridiculous amount of time, I've found out. You just, you can kind of just walk around and just do other things. The whole team died, you're disengaging, waiting for them to come back. They finally come back, and you still have that overswing. So it never goes away from at least what I've kind of figured out. I think if you use abilities though, it might leave. You use this, you throw a swing, and then it cancels. So as long as you don't use another ability, you will always have that next swing being an overhead. It takes a little bit of time to get used to and not completely just throw this power away, because it is one of those where if you're not really paying attention on keeping it, you could just totally just be constantly wasting opportunities to get more overheads. So keep that in mind when using this build, that doing blocks and then using, corners to get a big, starting swing on a fight is a really good idea. Round 5, when we get our next power, Defiant score is great. This is just going to help you get your cooldowns back a little quicker so you can get in, get out, and, especially when we're going to be using a little bit more ability power to get finishes, you're just going to be able to whip them out. You can throw projected edges, which will do a little bit of ability power, and then because you're using that, you'll get cooldowns on all your movements. It's just a fantastic perk all around. This will just make your Vendetta experience feel a little bit more buttery smooth. For our last power, if we get here, this is full build status. Can change these out interchangeably if you'd like. You can go up and over before you go Defiance Core if you're dying a lot, especially if they're running something super brawly and just walking you down. I would probably suggest going up and over first so you can make sure you're not just getting rinsed on repeat. But if you're not just getting rinsed on repeat and you can still find value in round 5 when you can get your next power, definitely go you know, these two. But yeah, swap these two if you need to. Don't be afraid to do that. This does not have to be in this specific order. I would just say these are the powers you do want to end up with. In whatever order you feel necessary, you know, do so, but this is what I would suggest. So this whole build is not that much money. If you're playing a decently efficient Vendetta, getting 48,000 when you're able to have all your powers is light work. You should have way more money than this anyways. So after your first few rounds, you know, it'll be like round 1, 2, 3, you're doing whatever you need to kind of compensate for whatever the enemies are playing. We're gonna, you know, still have our aftermarket firing pin, which we can get rid of this right now if we want to for a little bit more damage. I prefer having a lot of attack speed when it comes to this, and that extra 10% really does go a long way. So I keep the aftermarket firing pin. We have the creator. Essentially, this is just, you know, you can change this out if you wanted to. You can have this swapped for Talon. Just to have that extra 5% if you feel like you really, really need it. I find this is really helpful, especially with the amount of Mercy Junos that I end up fighting. It's just an extra secure on being able to finish off a support. So I typically just leave it on creator and, you know, take the 5% dip. It's really not that bad. Gloom Gauntlet. This is absolutely necessary. I would say the earlier you can buy this, again, so long as we're not running it into a Reinhardt comp, because Gloom Gauntlet into Reinhardt is essentially useless. If the Ryan's good and he's ever paying attention to where you are and he's, you know, peeling for his healers, you probably won't get enough time like alive to even really get value out of this. I would just say it's worth going with something else. Every other situation where you're not fighting a really aggressive Ryan comp, Gloom Gauntlet, definitely go for it. I'd say this should be your first purple. It really changes the tempo of the way you can play Vendetta. You can get really aggressive, get really up in their face. You don't have to be scared really of being as fragile, especially if you have, you know, cooldown reduction like we would have with Defiance Core. They kind of go, you know, nice with each other, where you can get in, do a bunch of damage. You can use your abilities, you know, while reducing your cooldowns, keeping yourself up, you know, with lifesteal, or I guess not lifesteal, but just, you know, max life regen, and then, you know, get out because you used a bunch of cooldowns and you got your abilities back. Phantasmic Flux as our next one, kind of a heavy hitter, kind of expensive. Same thing, a lot of these are pretty expensive, but, you know, all around, again, 48k, you should have way more than this if you're doing a full build. Phantasmic Flux, this is just good for everything. No matter what's happening, you're getting value here. I mean, you get the 10% on ability and weapon, but you also get the life steals out of it. Fantastic. I mean, this with Gloom with Rising Rampage is quite the tempo changer. You can kind of just walk down everything as long as you're not taking bullets from like a junk and he's just raining on you, or like you really just walk down everything. Again, Ryan's a problem, junk can be a big problem just because of the amount of spam you absorb, but these three together will really just make sure you're not dying. And with Vendetta, that's what we're kind of aiming for here. We just want to be up. We want to be up. We want to get a lot of our life back with everything we do, which this makes, you know, damn sure of it. And you know, we want to keep our onslaughts up. And with our next perk, that will help you do it with the Jet Skates. I recently started running this, and I haven't run it a whole lot. This is kind of experimental, but from what I've used, this is fantastic. I mean, Vendetta's already a very mobile character. You know, you're able to get around pretty quick. You have your Soaring Slash, which boosts you a pretty crazy distance. You know, you have your Whirlwind, which gives you another pretty decent distance. You can do Shield Hop tech, where you're kind of giving yourself B-hops every few seconds. And, I mean, you're able to, you can even get combos, right? You can start there, get another jump, Whirlwind. Like, you really can go quite far with Vendetta. Oh my god. What Jet Skates allows you to do, what I love it for the most, I am not a perfect player. I make mistakes, obviously. Sometimes I'm a goofball and I see an enemy over there, so I use every single ability I can. Oh my god, going for the kills, right? I got nothing. This thing just gives you a big hop. Just a big hop. Plain simple, easy. 10% on weapon, 10% on damage, and it gives you a speed boost every 8 seconds. It's really nice to just get out, or even if you're exiting a team fight, maybe your whole team got washed, tank died, healer died, you know you need to peel backwards. Maybe you used all your abilities just passively playing and you got nothing for like 4 seconds, but you gotta get out. Easy. You just bounce on out. super nice for getting away. Or on the flip side, getting really aggressive, he's too far, you just bounce on in. It comes in handy. It's hard to kind of explain it because it does sound a little stupid when I'm just fighting bots with it, but the amount of usability you can get out of jet skates is phenomenal. This is another must have if you want to get really aggressive with your Ven plays. Last but not least, we have booster jets. Booster jets everything here is kind of trying to marry each other, right? So that's kind of why I built it this way. You know, the stats are kind of balanced. It's not like you're rocking 80% weapon power and nothing of anything else. It's very well rounded. We try to make kind of everything here, and booster jets is just another thing that just complements everything else we have so well. We just have more speed, which is going to help us keep our onslaughts, and our onslaughts are being powered up by our Gloom Gauntlet. And because we have Gloom Gauntlet, we're constantly doing damage. We're getting a lot of life steal, and we have even just a little bit more attack speed here. Like, everything's trying to marry each other, right? We just have a super well-rounded build. It helps us get in, it helps us stay up, and that's kind of what we're going for when we play Vendetta. We have a ton of health, we have a ton of sustain. We don't have to just rely on our healers always being, sitting there right next to us babysitting, because, that's a surefire way to just make sure you die, to be honest with you. You need to have that self-sustain. You largely don't want to have to rely on anyone with Vendetta except for yourself. A lot of the play you do as Ven, you are by yourself. You're going to be doing a lot of aggressive plays, a lot of solo plays, a lot of dueling, a lot of 1v1s, a lot of 2v1s, 3v1s. You take super unfair fights as Ven. So you want every single possible advantage you can give yourself. You kind of just got to let your team do their thing and support them, and this is going to help you do it. You're going to be super effective, you're going to be super dangerous, you're going to be super annoying, that I can guarantee. You can just copy this build, I'll kind of just hover through everything again if you need to see. Hopefully you just built it with me here, and you can just kind of go in and use it right away. If we want to I'll just quickly go over it just because it's it's easy to do. Rounds 1, 2, 3, we're going to make this super simple. 1, 2, 3, obviously. Round 1, Rising Rampage. Round 2, Riposte. First perks you're ever going to buy when you first load into the game: Compensator, Ability, Power, and Armored Vest. These are just great, it's nice. Finish off easy kills, a little bit more damage, keep yourself alive. Heading into round 2, you're probably going to have enough money to do Crater Creator and Aftermarket Firing Pin. Just right into it, super easy. Now you got 15, 10, 10, 5. It's 15, 10, 10, 5. It's nice, it's good, well-rounded. It helps you just kind of, lots of overheads, lots of onslaught, a little bit of damage, a little bit of attack speed. Super nice. Round 3, play around, probably go Talon. You probably just have a little bit more money left over. I'd probably sell Compensator and maybe go with, something. Maybe you're getting pressured by a Junkrat or something, and because of that you need to get cushion padding, or you just play around with it, right? The first 1, 2, 3 rounds are super weird, but after that, you should have the money to just turf, maybe just one of these, get rid of cushion padding, go into ability, and go into survival, and you can get your gloom, and then boom, this could be your round 4, and then you just build until we have ended at this. That is essentially your Vendetta build. This is what you want. This is everything you need. I guess we can get rid of Talon. That's not what I meant to have. I wanted booster jets. 30, 20, 30, 15, 15. We can't even see all of them. I wonder is there no way to actually see everything it gives you? You can't scroll down or nothing. All right, trust though. 15% weapon, 15% ability, 30, 20, 30. It's super good, super well-rounded. Everything marries each other. This is one big happy family of a Vendetta build. Boom, 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 boom. I'm gonna go share. I'm gonna give you guys a build code right here. There we go. We got PB375 copy. That is what we're gonna be going for. Thank you for watching. That's really all we got to talk about today. If you enjoyed, once again, leave a like, leave a comment. If you think that something would work better in this build, feel free to tell me down below. If you think I messed up on something, if you think there's a better power swap, I'm always down to make things better. So tell me. Feel free if you have suggestions, let me know. Yeah, anyways, I'll be back hopefully. Maybe we'll do Ash next, or maybe I'll do a more simple breakdown of a Vendetta build, or even just a simple breakdown on how Stadium works, if that's something that people would like to see. But yeah, thank you for sticking around. If you made it this far, thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, that's all we got for today. So see ya.